Are you down with the Kings?
Whatever they going through, we down with them.
Sports Kings Radio. We are sports.
You see your teammate, and he has a big whopping chain on, bigger than yours, and so you sit there and say, you know what, okay, well, I'm going to go buy the new 911 Porsche and pull that up to practice and see how he likes that.
The show wasn't exactly on the court as much it was in the parking lot.
I know who had that big chain on.
I do too.
This is News and Talk 1380 WAOK, Sports Kings.
He had a big curl to go with the big chain.
Big Mike, Rod Calloway. I was thinking it was our next guest. I thought it was Bob Whitfield. Bob, that wasn't you with the big chain, was it?
Nah, I never had the big chain.
That wasn't you?
Chain. I think I did buy one chain, my first rookie chain, and I didn't know how to rock it. I remember this story, so...
It was a choker.
You come to Atlanta, Deion Sanders, Jamie Dukes, they was teaching me how to dress. So Deion put me in some old pinstripe green suit with some green gaiters, and I had my chain on. And they was like, boy, don't wear the chain outside your suit.
Outside the collar. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Whitfield is inside the Sports Kingdom. Bob, what's going on, man?
Hey, nothing. I was interesting seeing Dre Rising out there, talking it, because Dre did live the fab life, definitely.
Now obviously you saw the documentary. Now, what made me want to reach out to you was instantly as soon as I heard them talking about people putting their money into studios. But you had a very, very successful studio here, Patchwork Studios down here in Atlanta. What made your experience different from the experiences they were talking about on the documentary on Tuesday?
Well, I think it's more based on wins and losses, and just like being an athlete, your career is a lot of times based on your successes. And I think guys put money into stuff, and it's only a valiant effort if it wins. But then when you lose, then it's you're stupid, you're dumb, you're this, you're that, and this and that. And I'm saying, it's all a risk. Even when you step out on that field, you're not all guaranteed to win. But you go out there with the intentions, with the mustard that you're going to make a difference and you're going to be successful. And they take that strategy into operations, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. And then you suffer the consequence of, hey, you shouldn't have done it. But I don't necessarily agree. I just, hey, it's a chance, a risk, and if you're up for it, hey, have at it.
Sports Kings Radio, Rob and Mike on the line right now with Bob Whitfield, former Atlanta Falcons. As we continue our conversation about the ESPN documentary 30 for 30 Broke. Now, the guys that you just mentioned when we first opened up the interview, Bob, Deion, Andre, and Jamie Dukes, I like to call them the fried, dying, and late to the side boys because they all were rocking the processes back in the day. Now we know currently – the athletes, they like to go to Diamonds of Atlanta or Magic City and do what we know is making it rain or making it blizzard or whatnot. But back in the early 90s when you were playing with the Atlanta Falcons, where were you guys hanging out and what were you doing?
Look, Magic City was still the joint.
Yep.
Right.
My first week in the city of Atlanta, that was my indoctrination. You get a trip to Magic City. I was drafted underclassmen. I'm 20 years old. I don't even know how I got in Magic City. But I tell you what, you probably in Magic City, you might as well just give your money to them because they're going to take it. So you don't even waste time. Just truck it in, put it on the table and say, here, because this was going to happen whether you're trying to reserve it or not. But it's one of those things where, the lavishness of the lifestyle, I always say the spoils goes to the victor, and I think you get caught up. And you see, the athletes caught up in almost like a novelty game of, let's throw money. I don't like throwing money.
You ain't the only one, brother.
Put it in the G-string or in the bra strap. I'm not just going to throw it in the air.
Right. Let me get something out of the deal. You know what I mean?
I don't understand that whole ritual. It never made sense. I was like, I didn't do that. No, that was stupid.
Now, Bob, we want to get to this year's Falcons here soon, but my last question on the documentary would be: you're a guy who went to Stanford, pretty educated guy, but you've been through the rigors that they talked about in the documentary, the divorce and all that kind of stuff. What would older Bob say to younger Bob if he could right now about how he handled his finances or how he handled the lifestyle?
Older Bob probably would just say, just play football.
Just play
you
football.
don't need all the extras. You could go to practice. You didn't need the studio, all this. Just play football, because once the football is gone, you realize all the stuff you shorted. You know what I'm saying? All the hours that you didn't, apply, football. You wasn't thinking about football. All those trips to Magic City when you could have been excelling your game. So, I made 15 years, but felt like I could have probably played a couple more. So
Wow.
that would be the old Bob saying, football is enough to keep you occupied, keep your mind into, and you can, throw money in the locker room, because then everybody in there got money. You're guaranteed to get it back.
Sports Kings Radio, Robbie and Mike, hanging out right now with Bob Whitfield, former Atlanta Falcon. Now, switching gears, Bob, talking about these Atlanta Falcons this year, you were on some of the teams, as I mentioned before, that had some of the biggest characters in Falcon history. You also were a part of that the Super Bowl team back in 1998. What similarities do you see between the 98 team and this year's team, if any at all?
Well, I definitely see an offensive juggernaut. Just they're going to move the ball down the field. I think, we had 2,000-yard receivers. They definitely going to have that, with Julio and Roddy. Big-time running back, they definitely have that. Big-time quarterback, and everybody talked about Chris, but Chris would deliver, especially on play action. So when I was watching the Carolina game to see some of the play action passes, it reminds me of the 98 and things that we did, throwing the ball, getting it down the field. So from that standpoint, then on an all-around defensive standpoint, front seven, same, probably John Abraham might be a tick faster than Chuck Smith, but the same tenacity that Chuck approached the game, trying to get sacks and stuff. You see that from John, and I think overall, if there was ever a team to surpass what we did going to the Super Bowl and losing, it would be this team to go to the Super Bowl and win.
And finally for me, Bob, take us into the locker room. What is it like in this city experiencing success so early and so much success with so much expectation at this point after being 4-0 now?
You better stay out of Magic City. I'll tell you that.
Too late for that.
Too late.
That ship has sailed.
It's and that, you see the guys getting, picked up, celebrate, you're getting picked up, DUIs, whatever. And I think what ends up happening is that you don't want it to be too soon, where you roll in, but it's still too early. You got the first quarter of the season accomplished, mission accomplished, 4-0. Now you go to the next phase, the next 4 games, and you can't just think that, it's a cakewalk. You focus in, you get back to football, and, you don't even worry about the celebratory and all the adulation you're going to receive until you get to the point where you're standing there holding the Super Bowl trophy. If they keep their head down and just win, and they'll get all the praises, and Atlanta does a good parade, because I was on the losers parade, and it was cold as heck out there, and they was lined up, just cheer us on, and we lost the game. So Just imagine they win.
No doubt about
all
it.
of it goes to him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is Bob Whitfield, former Atlanta Falcons. Dude, we appreciate you so much for checking in with us, and we look forward to talking to you down the road this season.
Definitely.
Anytime during the year, fellas.
Okay, have a good one, man.
Appreciate it, Bob.
It's Sports Kings Radio with Rob Calloway and Big Mike.